to you. Kingsley, I'm beginning to hear sound.
All right, we're going to dive straight to the provisional list of the Super Eagles of Nigeria ahead of the World Cup qualifiers. That will be coming up. This month. That's March, and Eric Chell, the new Super Eagles coach, has of course released a provisional list for the World Cup qualifiers. And in the goalkeeping department, we have the likes of Stanley Nwabali. We also have okay, of course, in that particular list, and some other goalkeepers as well in that one. But Michael, what do you make of it? The provisional list of the Super Eagles of Nigeria is out. But first, I want us to take a look at it department by department. Taking a look at that goalkeeping department, how do you see, the list of players being invited by Eric Shell?
I think for me, take a look at the goalkeeping department. Yeah, I think these are the four usual names that so many persons expected to see. There's Stanley Nwabali, Maduka Okoye, Dele Adebayo, then talk about Abbas Omasoge and Kayode Daniel as well. Those five goalkeepers, they are usual suspects per se, but then I think the list will be further prone down, subsequently. So I expect to see at least three, maybe the likes of Maduka Okoye, Stanley Nwabali, then talk about Abbas or Masuge. These are the three names that I'm expecting to make the final shortlist.
All right, let's see how it goes. Talking about the final shortlist, I'll look forward to see, of course, the persons that will be making that final shortlist. It is a provisional squad, just like Michael said. We have the likes of Stanley Nwabali, Maduka Okoye. You talk about the man, Maso Basiki, Adeleye Adebayo, and we'll be looking forward to see which of them, of course, will make down the main list, when it is finally out, at the end of the day. But you take a look at the defense as well. We have the likes of William Troost Ekong. We have the likes of Bright Osai Samuel. We also have Bruno Oyemichi, and we have Gabriel Shaw, and as well the likes of Calvin Bassi, Ololuwa Aino. We have Saudu Sanusi, Igor Abu. We have Jordan Tona Riga, and Ifeanyi Onyebuchi. Michael, what do you make of the defense? Some quality names down there.
Yeah, for the defense line, I think the coach did very good job there to do a due diligence and trying to marshal out some of the solid rock defense that can be able to give us that solidity at the back. Likes of William Troost Ekong, Zaidu Sanusi, then talk about La Aina. These are players that have been informed for their club side. Gabriel Osho as well, I think that is the only name. I'm still trying to see we can be able to make the shortlist. We also have Calvin Bassi doing very well for Fulham so far this season. Bright Osai Samuel as well for the Turkish side, doing pretty well, getting game time. Bruno Nyemichi as well. So for me, I think the only name that possibly may not make the final list for me, I think maybe you talk about Ifeanyi Onyebuchi, then Igor Obu. These are the names possibly that might not make the list, because I find it very, very difficult to see that this name will drop names like Truseko, Calvin Bassi, Bruno Nyemichi, Zanusi. These are players that have been very regular for their club side, so it could be very difficult as a coach, in your first game to try and play maybe more like the risky game, trying to give some of these relatively unknown name chance, ahead of other names that have actually had the national team experience. So it could be very difficult for this some of these new names, Gabriel Ocho, Igor Obo, then Jordan Tonaruga. These are the names that may just not make the final shortlist, because I tell you, we need experience, especially in the defense line, if we must revive our hope of trying to see if we can be able to get the World Cup ticket. There is no need, no chances, no means of taking any risk at all. So for me, I think the traditional names will still make the list.
All right, let's see how it goes. Just like Margaret said, we'll look forward to see the traditional names will still make the list. Talking about the midfield, we have the likes of Wilfred Ndidi. We also have the likes of Rafael Onyedika, Hassan Yusuf Abdullahi. We also have the likes of Afisel Dele Bashiru, Frank Onyeka. We also have Alex Iwobi, Joseph Ayodele Aribo, and Anthony Dennis. Chris Santos Uche is also there. We have Papa Daniel Mustafa of Niger Tornadoes. And look forward to see how, of course, the midfielders will perform at this point in time. Michael, what do you make of it? Traditional names like Wilfred Ndidi, Frank Onyeka, you talk about Joseph Aribo, in that particular one, I'm so worried about, the form of Joseph Aribo. He hasn't been that, fantastic with the Super Eagles of Nigeria for some time now.
Not just for the Super Eagles of Nigeria, but his club side as well. He hasn't been able to put on or put up a consistent performance out there for his club side out there, and that is why he may not just make the final shortlist. But the good thing he's there. We see how Eric Chell is going to, pick out some of the first 11 or the 23-man squad in the final. End of it. But teams like names like Alex Iwobi expecting to be there, Al Hassan Yusuf. You talk about Fisayo Dele Bashiru, Frank Onyeka. Although Frank Onyeka, since he left Brentford, hasn't been that very consistent for his German club side. But then, because of his experience and his performance in the last African Cup of Nations, I expect him to make the final shortlist. Wilfred Ndidi also experience comes in out there. Then talk about Rafael Onyedika, been doing pretty well for his club side. I think the only name that I'm expecting, maybe new name for that matter, may be just Chris Santos Uche. He's a very good creative midfielder. I've taken time to watch some of his clips as well. So I think these are the names. Then for the creative midfield role, of course, Alex Iwobi will evenly be present there. Though sometimes it doesn't, deliver as much as Nigerians needs him, and that is why when a chance was given to Tom Dele Bashiru, so many Super Eagles followers were very, very happy because he's very, very good on the midfield. He also has an eye for the goal as well, which is one side that he's more of maybe a better midfielder compared to Alex Iwobi, who do more of the maybe giving the killer pass out there. But then I think it's a very, very good selection for the provisional squad.
A good selection, of course. We'll look forward to see how Eric will be able to trim this particular one down. But for the forward, we have the likes of Samuel Chukwueze, Victor Osimhen, Demola Lukman, Kelechi Iheanacho, Victor Boniface, Moses Simon down there, Sadiq Umar, Nathan Tella. We also have Siri Deza. We have Tolu Aroka Dari and Chidera Juke is in that particular one. Paul Onuachu, Ahmed Musa, and Jerome Akor Adams from Sevilla. If you take a look at that forward, very, very thick, Michael. Do you think Eric Chell will have a selection headaches in that particular department?
For the front line, I think he shouldn't have any selection because for me, that is not a Super Eagles coach, but then I can easily close my eyes and pick my striking force or pick my center forward, because as a coach, there is no way you ignore players like Ademola Lookman that have been very great for Atlanta so far this season. You can't ignore names like Victor Osimhen. He's been doing pretty well for Galatasaray. And then you talk about Boniface. Boniface, he hasn't been able to prove his worth in the national team, but with what he's doing for Bayern Leverkusen, may say, you can't just but include him in the center for. You talk about Samuel Chukwueze, though not a consistent performer in his club side out there, but whenever he get that cameo appearance or make that chance, he always trying to redeem himself. So we need such a player in the front line as well because of his pace and agility as well. So I think for me, I won't have any headache because bringing names like Chidera Ejuke that is not that consistent for Sevilla, injury 1 week, he goes goes back, comes back again. Hasn't been very. Paul Onachu is not not the kind of striker that you want to say, okay, I want to give him a starting bet ahead of names like Lukman Ademola or even Victor Osimhen or Victor Boniface. Then you talk about Tolu Akaro Dare. He has been doing very well for his club side, but club side experience is quite different from that of the national team. He hasn't played for the Super Eagles before. Then bringing him to the Super Eagles at this critical point in time where we need all 3 points. We don't need to take any chances. So for me, if I were to be the coach, I would just pick the usual regular names that are very, very good at their club side right now. It's about their performance for their club side, not just about the names only. Because if you have been a regular name for the Super Eagles and you are not performing very well for your club side, and you have other players that have not been very regular for the Super Eagles, but they are doing pretty well for their club side, then you give such a player a chance. But for those that have been there for the national team and they are doing pretty well for their club side, there is no way you can just ignore them.
All right, let's see how this one, of course, go. But Michael, it's been a long time we saw a provisional list, for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. What do you make of this, idea this time from Coach Eric Chell?
It's a good one. It's also a way of Nigerians to actually evaluate what the man has been doing since he got appointed. And from the provisional list, it's very clear that how he has been able to call players from different leagues over there in Europe. Then again, within the Nigerian Premier Football League, it's a very clear indication or testament that the man has been working around the clock since he's been appointed. Of course, he traveled over to keep close tab with some of the European-based players, coming back home to also watch 1 or 2 Nigerian Premier Football League games, then also working in tandem with our local coaches out here. It clearly shows from the provisional list that the man has not rested on his horse so far. He's been doing a lot. So for me, I think I give him a pass mark so far.
All right, let's see what comes up. Eric Chell has started his job in earnest, and of course, his first assignment is to qualify the Super Eagles of Nigeria for the World Cup. Still looking like a very big task, but from what he's doing, can he achieve it? That's a big question at this point in time. But we'll start away from the provisional list of the Super Eagles of Nigeria to take a look at some interesting fixtures tonight in the UEFA Champions League. Now, after flying through the Champions League group stage, Mikel Arteta's Arsenal will travel to the Netherlands to begin their knockout campaign, facing PSV and Devon at the Philippe Stadium. Arsenal have won each of their last 4 Champions League matches, scoring 13 goals and conceding just twice in wins over Sporting Lisbon, Monaco, Dynamo Zagreb and Girona. But the big question is, a win in tonight's game will take the run to 5, a streak they last achieved in 2005 and 2006 as they registered their best ever finish in the competition. And they, of course, take charge of tonight's encounter, Michael.
Well, in the UEFA Champions League games, it is never a one-horse race where you just tick one team and say, okay, they have the way without to go through. See, it could be a banana peel for the Gunners, because the Gunners, they've scored 51 goals so far in the English Premier League, considered about 23 or thereabout. So you take a look at those ratio and those statistics, it may say that Arsenal will be on the losing side tonight, because PSV has a better record compared to them in their league out there. In the Eredivisie, PSV is the only team that have scored more goals so far this season in the whole of Europe, exception of the 5 traditional European teams. I think only Bayern Munich that come close, as the only team that has scored more goals so far this in the Europe top 5 leagues, which is about 71 goals. But PSV, they've scored 73 goals in 24 games, consider just 29. They have plus 44 goals So if you take a look at the attack force of PSV, they are very clinical. Take a look at their defense line as well, watertight, very thick, solid at the back. But for Arsenal, Arsenal haven't scored much goals so far, and they've conceded as well, and they have striking problem because you take a look at their front line, and they have injuries to some of their key attackers, which could be their major undoing tonight. But then in the game of football, the impossibility is nothing. So Arsenal, they still have what it takes to go out there, push their limit, and possibly get a victory so as to give them advantage in the return leg.
No Kai Havertz, no Bukayo Saka, no, of course, Gabriel Martinelli at this point, for Arsenal. Some are saying the absence of these players might really affect, Arsenal in tonight's encounter. What do you make of it?
For sure, it will. It will, because since they lost Bukayo Saka, likes of Martinelli, and even Gabriel Jesus, they find it difficult to score much goals. I think Mikel Merino was given an opportunity in his first game to play the attacking role. Of course, he took that chance by scoring 2 goals. People thought that, Arsenal has gone or grown beyond striking option, but then we've seen it from their last 2-3 games right now. They find it difficult to win games, because they fail to convert their chances, especially at the tail end of the pitch, as they're talking about, the strike force. So it will definitely affect Arsenal chances tonight, because there is a difference between a makeshift striker, okay, and a center forward whose only aims is to just put the ball behind the back of the net. As a makeshift striker, most time you are not that clinical. You want to hold on to the ball, touch it, caress the ball 1 or 2 times, before you get balance. But a center traditional forward, he doesn't need to caress the ball 3-4 times. Just you hit the ball, the next thing that comes to your mind is to hit the target. So certainly it will definitely reduce Arsenal chances of scoring goals.
All right, let's see how this one will go. We hope that Arsenal gets that opportunity of making things happen tonight. But Real Madrid will face off with City rivals Atletico Madrid in a mouth-watering last 16 Champions League tie. Real Madrid have dominated their City rivals in Europe, winning all 5 previous knockout stage encounter, including 2 finals. And tonight's clash will mark the 10th Champions League meeting between the sides. Only Chelsea and Liverpool has featured as many between teams from the same nation. Michael, what do you make of it? Real Madrid always ahead of Atletico, especially whenever they play in the European competition. Can they continue their dominance tonight?
Record are meant to be broken, Kingsley. So, and tonight might just be that night where record will be broken. In their last 5 minutes meetings so far in the UEFA Champions League, Madrid has always had a better of Atletico, their Madrid, their City rival. But then, like I say, records are meant to be broken. And in football, you cannot stop, record being broken. Yes, Atletico de Madrid, they've been able to build a formidable team so far this season. Most of their players are their prime right now. The likes of Julian Alvarez, the likes of Griezmann, Koke. These are names that, when you hear the gong of the UEFA Champions League, you certainly know that men are there that are going to deliver. And of course, they will be squaring up against a perennial, a constant winner of the UEFA Champions League, record 16-time winner. Most of the players that won the last UEFA Champions League for Madrid to make it 15, they are all there present. So there is an aura that Madrid exude when they play the UEFA Champions League that makes it so impossible, for any team to stay and come up against them. Though people might say, Manchester City are not in the best of their form so far this season, and that is why Madrid had a better of them. But I tell you, Madrid, when it has to do with the UEFA Champions League, I don't know how they do it. They just have a different spirit when it has to do with the Champions League. And tonight is not going to be different. But one thing is certain, it promises to be a blockbuster game. There is going to be fireworks and crackers tonight at the Estadio Santiago Bernabeu tonight.
And talking about Madrid, will be without Jude Bellingham, who has been suspended, while the likes of Eder Militao, Dani Carvajal, the likes of Daniel Carvalhos and Jesus Velocio, they will be unavailable for tonight's encounter due to injury. Do you see the absence of these players affecting Madrid performance tonight?
Yes, of course, but then for Madrid, we know them. They can always, tweak things around, especially when it has to do with an experienced coach such as Don Carlo Ancelotti. Madrid, they have defensive crisis right now. I think the only defender that is very reliable right now is Anthony Rudiger, who has come back after some weeks of injury. But then take a look at Eder Militao, another center forward. I mean a central midfielder that has that very good pair with Rudiger. Is out this very one. Then you talk about the experience Carvajal also out. And so the injury crisis in Madrid, if Atletico de Madrid capitalize on this, they will certainly punish Madrid tonight.
And for Alexio Madrid, they are likely to miss the likes of Koke and Cesar Azpilicueta, both whom are battling from fitness ahead of the trip to Bernabeu. Maybe they might be fit, before the game tonight. But other fixtures tonight in the UEFA Champions League, we see the likes of Club Brugge and the lock-ons against Aston Villa. Borussia Dortmund will be gnashing against Lille. Those are the fixtures to be expecting tonight in the UEFA Champions League. And of course, we'll be back here tomorrow by 7 a.m. to bring you the results, from these games. But we can go without telling you who our sport extraordinaire is. And of course, no other than the man, Kikios Alexander. He scored 51 points to help the Oklahoma City Thunder, of course, to a 50th win of the season against the Houston Rockets in the NBA. This is the fourth time the 26-year-old has scored 50 or more points in a game since January, having never done so before then. And with that, we'll call it a wrap on the show.
Scholar and broadcast guru, Chairman Professor Umar Pat, President Society of Broadcasters, Nigeria, and Vice Chancellor, Federal University of Kashiri, Gombe State. Panelists, Chief Honorable Arthur C. Kalabo, Information and Communication Expert, Dr. Haka Tuwait, Lecturer, Public Relations, Media and Communication, Dr. Bekwele Lawrence DK, Lecturer, Marketing Communication and Public Relations, Opaka Dakuba, Chairman, South Nigerian Union of Journalists, Susan Serekara Nwikana, Chairperson, Nawach River State, Chief Host, Dr. Chinyere Igwe, Esquire, FSM, FINC, FNINN, MNIM, ARPA, MIPP. Venue, Dimeji Banquet Hall, Gay Place Hotel, Kilometer 5 East West Road by Obinkwere Flyover, Rumosi, Port Harcourt. Time is 11 a.m.
Call Kehinde Paul Obofadi on 0802 301 5728. That is 0802 301 5728 or info@atlanticnetwork.tv or info@wishfm995ph.com. You can also call Laurentia Ogu on 0818 344 6746. That is 0818 344 6746. Or leave content at atlanticnetwork.tv. This is signed by management.